What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 159, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. And before we dive into my sleepers that are outside the top 40 overall at their position, I have to tell you guys, I don't know if I'm going to get to the rest of the start sits for the rest of the season. I lost all my fouls yesterday. I've been scrambling to get everything together for you guys, and it's been a nightmare. It is every single NFL player name, every single color, everything. It is going to be so hard to make up all those, but I'm going to try my best the rest of the way. Now, for this video right here, this episode is going to be 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends that are outside the top 40 overall, so true sleepers that you can play this week on Buy-Mageddon week here because there's 6 teams on a bye. Now, obviously with quarterback, you can't go outside the top 40 and tight end as well. So they are going to just be deeper sleeper plays for you if you need with all the buys that are happening this week. Now, before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like, make sure you hit that subscription, turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton more than you guys know. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. And again, I'll be live today. I'll be playing Fortnite, though, for the Cash Cup. And then I'll be live for Big Drive Energy Show tonight for fantasy football as well. So if you want to check out his YouTube and Twitter, all that's linked in the description. And then I'll be live Sunday morning for the Start Sit Big Show where we go over every single question you guys have. So let's dive into my Week 12 deep sleepers, guys. Starting off with sleeper number 1, QB1 of the week that you can pop into your lineup this week if you need to, because Buy-Mageddon, you have Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, and Derek Carr on a bye this week. So if you need to throw Tommy DeVito in there, you can. Obviously, none of his stats this year or anything. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to look back at his 2023 here, and then you have to look at, there was no Malik Neighbors at this time as well. Now, I know he popped up with a growing injury as well there too, so you got to pay attention to that. But if you just look at last year, he steps in week 10 versus Dallas, which is the number 1 defense, still got 14 fantasy points. Then he goes to Washington and gets 25. And then he goes to New England, gets 11, 17, 10, and 3, and he got hurt in that game. But what you have to look at here as well is he's had 2 games with over 40 yards rushing, 40 and 70 yards as well, 36 in the other game. And he's had a 250-yard pass game. And you're going to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, guys, versus the quarterback ranks 32nd. That's dead last. 281.8 passing yards. That's second last. And they also give up a 1.5 touchdown to the wide receiver a game. And then when you look at the wide receiver, you go and look at Tampa Bay and how they are versus the wide receiver. They're ranked 25th. They give up 24 points a game. So this is going to be an honest play right here. Like, if you need to throw out Tommy DeVito because you have a bye, this could be a great matchup for him. He gives you the rushing upside. If Malik Neighbors is out there, it's going to help even more. And I really like him as a dart throw play this week. And if you need to throw him in there, you can. Sleeper player number 2, quarterback number 2 is going to be Will the Mayonnaise Levis. So only averaging 11.6 points on the season, right? He had a bad start to the year. First 4 games. He had a -5 game in week 4 before he got hurt. Or -0.5. So then he comes back in Indy after the bye, gets hurt again. So he goes Buffalo, Detroit, New England. He misses those games. And guys, he's QB 31 on the year, so you can't go outside the top 40 there. 1,169 passing yards, 165 rushing yards, a ton of interceptions. We got to drop that number down. He's got to stop throwing picks, 8 total TDs. But, like, I'm going to throw my own tweet up here because I feel like no one's talking about what's coming here for the Titans. So this is Will Levis since returning in week 10, coming back off the injury, against 2 of the top defenses in the NFL. At the Chargers, he drops 21 points. Then he goes versus Minnesota. He drops another 19.6 points. So he's averaging 17.9 points in his past 2 starts. Sorry, 20.9 points in his past 2 starts. And then you look at average 30 yards rushing a game. He gives you the rushing upside, 41 yards, 20 yards in the second game, 470 yards passing, 3 TDs and 1 pick, 235 passing yards. And you're playing against the Houston Texans. Their strength is the front 7. So versus the wide receiver, they give up 35.6 points. They rank 28th on the season. Obviously, they're like when I said they have a good front 7, they're good in the red zone. So they're 7th in the red zone, but 152.8 passing yards, which is bottom 10. And you're going to be playing against the Lions offense, who's a powerful offense that scores at will. If you watch them versus the Jags, they sent a message to the NFL saying that we're just going to keep scoring and keep scoring and keep scoring until we just blow teams out. So you're probably going to get garbage time. And guys, you have to look at Will Levis the rest of the way here as well. I'm going to throw the tweet back up here. Look at their playoff schedule for Will Levis. This guy should not be on your waiver wire. The Jaguars, 31st. Cincy at home, 28th versus the quarterback. Colts, 21st. Colts are pot of gold. They're bad everywhere. Week 17, you get the Jags again. Will Levis is going to win people fantasy championships, and people do not even know it. And if you need the sleeper start this week, you can throw him in your lineup. Heading over to the running back side, my sleeper player number 3 of the week is going to be Roschon Johnson, Chicago Bears running back. So currently averaging 7.7 points a game. He had a 42% snap share last week with the new coaching staff, which is his highest of the year. Target share at 5.1%. Obviously, he never really played over 40% of the snaps, so that number is going to be low. RB 44 on the year, so outside the top 40 there. 137 rushing yards, 78 receiving yards, 46 attempts, averaging about a 3.0 yard per carry. But what you got to look at is the 5 total TD, guys. He is the goal line back. You've seen that even with DeAndre Swift. And now, with Shane Waldron out of town, Thomas, the new OC, is in there. You see a little more Roschon Johnson work in the game. Now, obviously, DeAndre Swift got a little banged up. He's been banged up throughout the week with practice, so make sure you're paying attention to the updates. But it looks like he's going to be out there. But you're going up now against the Minnesota Vikings. And the Minnesota Vikings, this defense is ferocious. You're at home in the cold. These are where big bruising backs come in. And if he's on your waiver wire, you should even be picking him up either way, because if you're looking ahead and say the Bears season starts to fall away here, maybe they look to see what they have. I know they paid DeAndre Swift his contract, but maybe they look to see what they have in their second-year rookie out of Texas, big Roschon Johnson here heading forward. And if you need a flex play this week, again, with all the running backs that are out, you can throw in Roschon Johnson because he has a touchdown upside for the goal line work. Sleeper player number 4, running back number 2. It is time to get risky here if you need, and this is a play you can possibly make. So this is probably a player that none of you even really know. This is Dylan Labe, the rookie running back out of New Hampshire. So what you have going on this week with the Oakland Raiders, and this is going to be a different breakdown from me here, right? So what you have going on is you have Alexander Mattison and Zamir White that are doubtful. And they have Amir Abdullah, who they used in the last game. But the Raiders season is pretty much over, guys, right? Like 2-8, they're playing for the first pick. They're probably going to be looking to get Shadur Sanders, probably bring in Deion Sanders as the coach with him, which would be amazing to see in the NFL. Now, when you're looking at this, do you think that they're going to play a 31-year-old running back when your season is pretty much done here? I don't see that happening. So if you need a dart play, you got to look at his New Hampshire numbers, right? I know it's not a D1 or high-end D1 college. They're not playing anybody, not great competition. But he had 2,773 rushing yards, 29 TDs to go along with 1,800 receiving yards. That's almost 5,000 yards of offense in college, 14 receiving touchdowns to go with it. So 43 touchdowns as well. This guy he knows where the end zone is. He's not afraid to be a pass catching back as well here. So I honestly think they're going to look to see what they have in him. And this is someone you should be stashing in fantasy football here too. You get the Denver Broncos this week. Denver versus the running back right now. Denver's a very good defense. I say this in all my videos. One of my favorite defenses. Versus the running back, they're 15th. They give up 22.5. They rank 9th in the red zone, so they're about a top 11 to 10 D. It's a good defense again. 80.5 yards and about a 50% chance for a rushing touchdown. But again, you're probably going to have this guy looking to see what there is for the future. So if you have a roster spot right now, like a 12, 14-man competitive redraft league, you should be grabbing him, because I don't think Alexander Madison's the answer. Maybe they see what, like to see what they have in Zamir White. I really don't see them throwing out Amir Abdullah, who's going to be turning 32 here as their starting running back. So this is a very, very interesting sleeper play to me, and something you should be paying attention to in this week. Heading over to the wide receiver, sleeper player number 5, and it's crazy to say that Michael Pittman is a sleeper play, but guys, he's become one. He's wide receiver 51. He hasn't been injured the whole year. He's had that back problem. He's been playing through it. He missed week 10, right? But what you got to see here is 8.8 points per game. Snap share last week back up to 87%, back in wide receiver 1 numbers. Target share at 22.8, top 35 in the NFL. He does rank wide receiver 51, 65 targets, 35 receptions, 412 yards. Doesn't have any rushing yards and 2 total TDs. It's been a down Michael Pittman year. But you look at week 11, Anthony Richardson comes back. They play the Jets. He sees the most targets. He sees 8 targets, 5 catches, 46 yards. Now in this game, you're going to get the Detroit Lions at a 50.5 point spread game here, right? Absolutely bonkers, lights out scoring. I think that's going to happen in this game too. Now, the Detroit Lions versus the wide receiver guys, they rank 28. They give up 38 points a game to the wide receiver. That's what you want to see here. They rank 5th in the red zone. Obviously, they have a great front 7. 188.7 yards just to the wide receiver a game, and a 60% chance of a touchdown. I'm taking these odds. I obviously, Josh Downs is on my smash play if you watched the video before. But I'm taking these odds this week. I'm starting Michael Pittman. The Detroit Lions, like I said, they're probably going to be up. The Colts are probably going to have to pass the whole time. Jonathan Taylor's in for a tough game versus the run versus Detroit. And I really like Pittman as a flex play this week and a sleeper throw that you should be throwing out there. Another crazy sleeper name that's on here. Player number 6, wide receiver number 2 is going to be Christian Watson. So currently only averaging 8 points a game, 67% snap share. You have so many wide receivers in Green Bay. It's always going to be tough to know who hits. Target share really low at 11.8%. Again, you have Romeo Doubs, Wicks, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, all these options. So the target share is not going to be high for him, right? But when you look at this, he's wide receiver 69, 31 targets, 20 receptions. He's missed a couple games because of injury, right? He missed week 4 and 5. 383 receiving yards. Gets a couple rushing attempts. You got to like that, even though it's -4. He got tackled in the backfield. 2 total TDs on the year. But you're going to get the 49ers this week. The 49ers just ruled out everybody, guys. Tre'Davious Ward is out. Joey Bosa is out. Brock Purdy is out. And the 49ers defense, how they get beat, is susceptible to deep balls. I'm a 49er play, and we blow on chunk plays, man. They just beat us on chunk plays 24/7. What is Christian Watson's specialty? The chunk play, the big bomb. I'm willing to throw Christian Watson out with confidence as a sleeper play this week against the 49ers. Even though the 49ers defense ranks 10th versus the wide receiver, they give up 29.9. They rank 14th in the red zone, 140 yards passing and a 70% chance for a touchdown for the wide receiver. I'm taking those odds. You saw him be targeted the most in the red zone last week as a wide receiver with 3 targets. This is what you want. He has touchdown upside. I like Christian Watson as a great sleeper play this week. Heading over to my tight end sleeper player number 7, tight end number 1 is going to be the rookie out of Texas, Ja'Tavion Sanders. And guys, his numbers have boosted up here since he started playing more snaps. So 5.7 points per game. Obviously, he wasn't out there at all at like 40% snap rate to like week 5. So his numbers are going to look low there. But look at the snap share last week, guys. 88%. That is what you want as a tight end. That is your tight end 1 that never comes off the field. Target share is obviously low, 10.6%. I know you're going to have Thielen back too. I don't think that's really going to change much for Ja'Tavion Sanders this week in the matchup. So you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, guys. Kansas City Chiefs rank 30th versus the tight end. That's 3rd worst in the NFL. 15.7 points per game to the tight end. Obviously, the Chiefs are number 1 run D. So in the red zone, like I say, their front 7, feel good smaller. They're number 10 versus tight end in the red zone, so they're good there. 74.3 yards per game they give up to the tight end position. That is dead last in the NFL. And when you're looking at this game, how do you think the game script's going to go? Chiefs are probably going to run over the Panthers. Chuba Hubbard's probably in for a tough run game here. They're probably going to have to pass heavy everywhere. And if you look at it, Bryce Young's new security blanket is becoming Ja'Tavion Sanders. From 0 play at all for the first 5 weeks, he's gone to 5 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, 1 target, 5 targets, 2 targets, and a touchdown last week. I know he's a rookie. I know he's learning Dave Canales' system. I know it's starting to grow. But this is a great sleeper play that I am even starting in my 14-man monster league this week. And if you need a tight end to plug and play, this is a great option this week. Last but not least, player number 8, tight end number 2 on the week that you can plug and play as a sleeper play this week is Theo Johnson. So Theo Johnson, rookie out of Penn State. I've been paying attention to him all year in my videos. You got to see, but when I'm looking at these numbers, right? So 5.1 points per game, obviously low there. The snap share is what's been getting my eye all year long. 92% last week, 85 before, 97, 90, 89. Yeah, the volume hasn't been there. Danny Dimes, the connection grew a little bit over the past 3 weeks, but he just got released, right? So we don't know how it's going to look with Tommy DeVito. Could he look for a security blanket more, especially, let's say Malik Neighbors isn't out there? Then I like Theo Johnson even more, right? So you get the best matchup you can get. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they rank 29th versus the tight end, right behind Kansas City. These are things you have to look at when you're looking at like plug and plays you need, right? So they give up 15.4 points to the tight end. Solid play there. In the red zone, they're not even like the Chiefs. They're even worse. They're 21st in the red zone. And they give up 68.4 yards, which is 2nd worst, right behind Kansas City Chiefs, with a 50% chance of a touchdown. Now, Tampa Bay needs this win. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Do you think that the New York Giants are going to be ahead in this game at all where they can pound the run? No, this is probably going to be 1 carry, 2 carry. Tracy drives down the end, and a lot of passing work for Tracy and a lot of passing work for Theo Johnson. And especially if Malik Neighbors is out. I really, really like this if Neighbors is out. So just remember that. So pay attention to that injury update as you go forward. But if you need a plug and play tight end with all the bias again, you can throw out the rookie Theo Johnson and Ja'Tavion Sanders. I like them both this week a lot. Thanks for rocking with me today. That is the end of the episode, guys. Those are my top 8 sleeper plays to help you during this Buy-Mageddon week, guys. Remember, these are sleeper plays. Do not start them over your, big name players, right? But when you have, Dalton Kincaid, Mike Gesicki, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Conklin, Evan Ingram, Taysom Hill out at tight end. These are some tight ends you could throw in there for him, right? And you can use all the wide receivers and running backs that are on a buy as well. But again, I know there's a lot of comments that come when I drop like sleeper videos, like should you start these guys over starters? These are deep plug and play guys, right? These guys that are outside the top rankings by a long way and kind of dart throws, except for like Michael Pittman, you could say he's like a low end wide receiver 3, right? But he's outside the top 40. So I could throw that in there as a sleeper play. It's kind of crazy. He's outside the top 40. But that's it for me this week in videos, guys. Thanks for all the support, man. Thank you for all the likes. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscription button. Again, I'll be live, but I'll be playing some Fortnite today. If you want to bring in your fantasy football questions as well, we're going to be playing the Cash Cup. And then tomorrow I'll be live Sunday morning for the Fantasy Football Start Sit Show to get every single question there is. And if you can't make the shows, you can drop any comment you want down below. One of my goals is to try to answer every single one of them to help you guys get that weekly win and get you that championship, man. We are close to the playoffs, guys. Let's go. Week 12 is almost here. That's it for me this week. SleezBall out. Again, thank you guys so much. I'll catch you in the next video.